What is up, my people? Welcome to another video. We're going to talk boxing. I'm going to give my final prediction on the Bebo versus Beterbiev fight, even though I have already made my prediction several times. I made one before the injury. I made one after the injury. And I think I'm going to make another one now since the fight is so close. I believe it's this weekend or maybe next weekend. I'm not really sure. I think it's this weekend. And it's still going to be Beterbiev for me. Even though Bebo, Bebo has the momentum, or it seems like he has the momentum. It seems like he has, he's in better conditions than Beterbiev, because Beterbiev seemingly is coming off an injury, or officially is coming off an injury. And the reason I say it like that is because we don't know if it was an actual injury or he faked the injury, or the injury was because of reasons of age, or wear and tear on the body, or other reasons that we don't know about. I have stated before that people that are on the juice, like the actual juice, not Austrian, like I'm talking about like actual PEDs, anabolic steroids, stuff like that, they tend to show wear and tear mainly in their joints, right? In their elbows, knees, stuff like that. It's very common to suffer in this way. When you're doing actual anabolic steroids, and so it could be a number of things. I'm not trying to get conspiratorial or anything like that. I'm just giving you all of the options that could be. And I'm not the type of dude that, because I get an official report, I automatically believe that. Especially in boxing, it's a lot of shady things going on in boxing. Either way, I'm still leaning towards Beterbiev because, like I said, all of the stuff we know, as far as his trajectory is concerned, like the way he boxes and the type of people he's met in the ring. Beterbiev has seen several Bebos, in my opinion. Bebo, he is a typical Soviet fighter. There's, and it's gonna sound like I'm trashing him or minimizing what he is. But Bebo is your typical basic Soviet fighter, or Russian style fighting. The boxing style is, Russian style 101. Pendulum step, corkscrew jab, and then trying to attack safely within angles. The main angle they use, or trajectory they use when they're moving and punching, is to their lead hand. So towards their lead hand, at a distance, meaning outside, throwing the jab, right? And the way they throw it, as they throw it, they're not going to be that exposed at all. You may have a chance to maybe hit him to the body, but they're going to be able to see it coming anyways because of the way they throw it. There is ways around it, and I think Bebo has seen this style plenty of times because he's also Russian, I believe. I heard he changed his citizenship or something like that to Canadian, but who knows? But the point is, he's seen the style before. He's even met Bebo before, because when you grow up in a country and you're in the same sport as another guy and you come up at the same around the same time, you're gonna meet eventually. But my point is this, you know, to a lot of American fighters, a lot of times it is hard to beat a Soviet style fighter, right? Or two other styles that aren't really brought up in um or accustomed to this style, to this pendulum step with the corkscrew and fighting this way. So it's difficult for some people that haven't seen it before to get beat by a guy like this and not be able to figure him out. Now, one of the guys who did figure it out was Canelo. Even though Canelo did lose to Bivol, he didn't lose because he didn't know what to do. The main reason he lost is height and strength, and the weight class, basically. Those are the main reasons Canelo lost. It wasn't like people would like to think and mostly believe that it was this high level IQ, or that Bivol displayed a high level of IQ and ring generalship. Ring generalship he did, but the two main reasons he won that fight, Bivol won versus Canelo, was because of, number one, his height, um, and his weight class. He was not in his natural weight class, but he was in a weight class that was more comfortable for Bivol rather than Canelo. Canelo coming from 6 weight classes below. Okay, so you got to think about that. A lot of people like to trash Canelo because he's Mexican, basically. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But you got to understand where he came from. He came from a way lower weight class, challenging a guy who is he's just a bigger guy, So what I'm trying to say is this: that's not going to be a problem for Beterbiev. Beterbiev, this is his weight class. He's been fighting in this weight class. He's been beating up people like Bivol. So let's go back to the Canelo fight, and I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating. Canelo has beat Soviet style fighters before, one of them being Kovalev. Right, Kovalev is the same thing that Bivol was doing. Kovalev was doing throughout his whole career. Okay, pendulum step, corkscrew jab, and stepping in and out of range just enough so that they could come back with an attack. Right, setting people off, setting people up. With that pendulum step, just stepping right out in order to counter immediately. So it's different than an American pendulum step, because in an American pendulum step, if you look at Shakur, if you look at Mayweather, and if you look at guys from the U.S., they use the pendulum step. They use it differently. Americans use it as an escape route, and there's not very much counter to it. So, for example, I always criticize Shakur Stevenson for jumping 50 feet back and continuing to jump back. That's the way Americans use the pendulum step. They use it as an escape. So they go in and boom, right back out. In and boom, right back out. Mayweather used to use it mainly with the jab to the body. So he would step in, boom, and then step back out, which is kind of like a pendulum step or elements of pendulum step, but a little bit modified to Mayweather. But the Russians, they like to stay right out of the range. They like to do an L shape to step around the lead foot so they can be right there in front of you, make you miss by micro inches, and then come back right back in with that jab or maybe with a hook, right? And you see him practice, in the mitts. It's very simple. That's why when I hear people say this is high IQ, not really. If you think about it, he's just using 1-2s and a hook. All right, 1-2s and a lead hook. 1-2s and the lead hook. That's basically And even if you look at him practice in the mitts, that's what he's doing. He's doing 1-2s and a hook. And the check hook is just, just in case you're trying to get too jumpy, too froggy, he hits you with that check hook on the way in. Or he could even set it up himself, going to the inside and going to the body. So he could feint a jab with the corkscrew pendulum, then lean to his left, and then come up with an uppercut. I haven't seen him do that, but he can very well do that within this style. Now, but, and like I said, it's very simple, very easy to use. Not that much thinking involved. There's really just a rhythm that it has to be set within the fight, and the fighter that uses this style has to be in tip-top shape, because there's a lot of moving involved. There's a lot of zigzagging involved. There's a lot of, suicide type energy. Suicide meaning like the exercise, suicides. I don't know if you guys do suicides. But you pretty much run to one direction really fast, and then you run to the other direction, kind of like playing tennis. That's what I mean. I don't mean like actual suicide. Hope I don't get demonetized. That's an exercise. That's not. It's not the actual thing. That's what we call an exercise. So that's the type of energy required. It's very very cardio based. Okay, it's very foot based. The problem with this style is that the head doesn't move that much, and the body doesn't really move that much either. It's mainly your number one form of defense is your feet in evasion. Okay, your feet in evasion, and your shoulders and your actual jab as you're stepping in with the pendulum is protecting you from any type of retaliation. Okay, so with a guy like Bivol, the main thing you got to do is catch him on the way in with body shots. Okay, catch him on the way in with body shots, mainly because they really don't protect their body that much. This is why Kovalev had a hard time against Canelo. A lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, it's just because he was old, and that's why he lost against Canelo." But you're not learning that way. All you're doing is attacking Canelo, but you're not really learning anything. I'm trying to teach you how Canelo won. Canelo won by going to the body in the early rounds, slowing him down so that the pendulum step cannot be as effective, making him pay for stepping in on Canelo, and then coming up top in the later rounds to capitalize on him going to the bank, to the body in the first couple of rounds. Problem is, against Bivol, Canelo wasn't able to hurt Bivol at all. Bivol never really felt his shots. He kind of felt them to the arm. The other thing, Canelo was thinking that he was going to be able to do the same thing he was doing with the lower weight classes to Bivol, which wasn't the case. Bivol, fought back, and not only that, he didn't care if he was hitting him flush. Okay, which is this is how if you want to beat someone like Canelo, and even Mayweather too, to a certain extent, don't try to hurt him, and don't try to hit him flush either. Just hit him everywhere. Hit him in the gloves, hit him in the shoulders, hit him everywhere you can. Rack up points, frustrate him so that he doesn't know what you're aiming at. Guys like Canelo, not only and Beterbiev, not only do they want to hurt you, they think in terms of hitting you flush in key spots. For example, the temple, the chin, the sides, right here under the ribs, solar plex. They're actually thinking of those spots. Why? Because if he hits you in those spots flush, he knows that you're going to feel it, and it's going to drain you slowly. This is the way these guys think. Okay, but Bivol, what he did is he used that to his advantage. And he started aiming for everything. Okay, even when Canelo aims for your arm, he's aiming for your arm to hurt that arm. Okay, he's aiming for the top of that, right where the shoulder connects to where the collarbone connects to the arm bone, right? He's aiming for that because he's trying to kill that nerve. He's trying to numb that nerve. Okay, so even when he's doing that, he's thinking it in a pinpoint accuracy type of punch way. And Bebo said, "Okay, you're doing that. I'm just gonna aim for everything." And if you go back and look at the fight Bebo versus Canelo, Bebo wasn't really trying to hit him flush or hit him anywhere. If he hits him in the gloves, he hits him in the gloves. If he hits him in the arm, he hits him in the arm. If he hits him anywhere, there's no pinpoint accuracy, just speed and pendulum in and out. And eventually, you're gonna catch him with something because Canelo is too focused on pinpoint accuracy. So he's aiming small and he's missing big, while Bebo is aiming big and he's not really missing that much anyway. He's missing small. Um, so that was the key for that. So how do you beat a guy? I already said it. All right, you got to catch him on the way in, hit him to the body. Canelo was trying to do that. He couldn't hurt him, but Turbiev is going to be able to hurt him, and that's going to be the key factor, in my opinion, for Beterbiev to win. He's going to hurt him, and he really, the way Beterbiev work, and most of the fighters that fight like Beterbiev work, is that if they hurt you, they can use that to hold you ransom and start bullying you throughout the fight. So let's say Bebo uses this is what I feel like what's gonna happen. Bebo starts using his pendulum stepping in with the jab, feinting with some of those so that he could catch him on the way in with a 2 or catch him on the way in with a lead hook, right? He's doing all of this, but Turbine just needs to move a little bit and cover up. Okay. Now on the way in, he has to go to the body. Okay, and what Beterbiev does best is time his opponent and sacrifice himself so that he can land a better shot on the way in. Okay, so what he's going to do, in my opinion, is he's going to see it coming. He's going to jam his corkscrew jab and come over the top with a 2 or a 1-2. Okay, so that's what I think is going to happen. He's going to jam his pendulum by using slight footwork, maybe moving to his is Bebo left-handed or right-handed? I don't really remember. But the point is, whichever one is his lead hand, he's going to move behind his lead hand, jam his corkscrew jab with the pendulum, and come over the top with a 2. Now, he doesn't have to do that all the time. He could also go straight to the body. He's going to hurt him. Okay, why? Because he hurts everybody. Okay, he's a phenomenal puncher. If you look at the interviews, people talking about him, they're going to tell you that he has out of this world power. So once he hurts him to the body or to the head, he's going to start using feints and things for him to cover up upstairs or downstairs, and then do the opposite. Once that happens, he's going to start building from that, meaning he's going to start adding punches, and it's going to be a wrap within maybe. I don't think this fight's gonna go the distance. I'm gonna give it maybe 5 or 6 rounds, okay, and it's gonna be a wrap in my personal opinion. Now, the opposite could happen, and Bebo could accidentally catch him with something, hot, somewhere around the early rounds. Okay, it has to be the early rounds because in the later rounds, Bebo doesn't wear down in the later rounds. But if you do the things you have to do against him, he will. It's just inevitable. Why? Because if you go to the body with a guy who moves his legs too much, the movement is gonna shut down, and he's not gonna know what to do. This is what happened to Kovalev. This is what happens to most Russian fighters. So, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something. So that's what's gonna happen to Bebo, in my opinion. So my pick is still gonna be Beterbiev, but there's one thing that I have to mention before um, before I ended. I did have a dream. Okay, and I don't know why I mentioned this dream. I have to mention it because I don't know what it means, but it has to do with this fight. Okay, and I'm gonna mention it to see if the dream has anything to do with the outcome of the fight. So I dreamed for some reason with Bebo. Right, I didn't even dream with Perturbio if he wasn't in my dreams, but for some reason Bebo was um in a band, a rock band. He was wearing like a mask. And nobody knew it was him, right? And he was playing a guitar and singing or whatever. I know it's a weird dream, but I just want you just want you to know, just to see if he wins. Maybe that's what the dream meant. That's basically why I'm telling you. So so he does like a kick. You know how sometimes guitar players they do like a kick. Like a kick strum. And he was doing there was like a crowd. And he was playing like in a kind of like a death metal band or a Viking metal type stuff. And so he kicks and he strums and he throws like a kick, right? And he accidentally hits one of his fans that were in the crowd, and he knocks him out, and he's out cold. And then Bebo takes off his mask. He's kind of like a Slipknot, right? And it's Bebo, and I'm like, what the hell? What the heck is Bebo doing here, playing guitar? And he starts smiling and laughing, like, oh my god, I accidentally knocked this guy out. And so it got me to thinking, does this mean does this mean Bebo is gonna win? Because if so, but at the same time, it's just a dream. Um, but who knows? You could go with my dream prediction or with my analysis. It's up to you guys. Maybe he knocks him out accidentally, because like I said, he's not really going targeting anything in specific when he's in there. From my opinion, he's not really doing that. He's using speed and the pendulum to trick people and stuff like that. So, um, but maybe he catches him with something, accidentally. He starts stumbling or whatever, and he wins the fight that way.